Casting for Dazed and Confused began in 1991 with a dual casting unit approach. In the first, Richard Linklater, the writer-director, hired the help of very well-known casting agent Don Phillips, who had cast such films as Dog Day Afternoon, Animal House, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Uncle Don, as he was affectionately known, was a man of vodka consumption, cigarette smoking, and the telling of tall tales. The 52-year-old casting director in 1991 pledged to Linklater that he would duplicate the success of Fast Times with Dazed and Confused. Phillips, living in Malibu, held casting sessions in Los Angeles and New York for the film. The second unit casting was guided by Dazed co-producer Anne Walker McBay, who had been production manager on Slacker. She remained in Texas, mostly in Austin, but went to Dallas too. Anne went to local high school drama departments in the area and would hand out casting information cards to kids, telling them to pass them around at parties. The cards explained that she was casting for a teen film and to call the number for more info. She also gave these cards out on the street to kids who had a 70s look. The general casting call was for young people ages 15 to 22. The average age of the cast was probably around 20 or 21. The girl who played Julie, the sophomore chick who hits it off with Mitch Kramer, was a local Austin girl who was paid $100 a month for 6 months to hand out these cards at school. Her best friend, Kristen Hinojosa, was cast as Sabrina, the freshman girl who ends up with Tony. Wiley Wiggins, who played Mitch Kramer, received his card from Anne Walker McBay herself as he exited a coffee shop in Austin. He was only in 8th grade at the time. The oldest cast member who lied about his age for fear of rejection was Sasha Jensen, who played Donnie. The actor was 26 years old during the casting. Casting director Don Phillips had a process by which he would simply talk to the actors for a few minutes instead of them just saying a line from the script and sending them on their way. Anne Walker McBay in Texas would do the same. She would ask about their high school experience, activities they participated in like sports, how they felt about coaches and adults, even if they had experimented with substances. Anyone making the cut would be called back to speak with Don or Anne with Richard Linklater in the room, who didn't really talk. He just kind of observed. Actors would read for different parts during that second audition. Those who survived that round were invited to the infamous pizza party. During this final phase of the casting process, some 40 to 50 actors were flown first class to LA. It was Don Phillips' idea to do it on a Saturday and order a bunch of pizzas. It was a long and disorganized event that tired and frustrated the actors. All of the senior boys initially read for Pink, and all of the girls for Jodie Kramer, Mitch's older sister. Actors were sent back out to the waiting area, then called back in to read a different scene with a different actor. Jason London, who landed the Pink role, remembers reading for the part of Tony, the guy who had the Abraham Lincoln dream. Imagine Jason London as Tony. Eventually and suddenly, London was cast as Pink. A similar situation happened with Sasha Jensen, who played Donnie. You know, the check you later guy. He was reading for Mike, Adam Goldberg's character. He was the one who got in the fight with Clint at the Moon Tower party. I can't imagine Sasha Jensen playing Mike. Actors were simply asked to leave if they were rejected. People were feeling the pressure. Rick would have people read for different parts and ask which character they identified with. The actors would explain as Rick heard them out. Of course, people had other hopes and ideas for their part, but Rick ultimately made the decisions, of course. Linklater revealed that he observed how the actors interacted with one another when they weren't reading to see how people got along. He also considered for himself who he would most be willing to work with for a summer. By the end of the pizza party, the remaining actors were informed that they were officially cast. Everyone was so excited. They all returned home, got all the paperwork signed, and received a letter from Rick which explained that they were all to show up to the filming knowing their characters. This didn't mean memorizing lines necessarily, because he knew that the shooting script would be different. He asked that the actors explore their characters' psychology and background so that they could best inhabit their role during filming. He even said in the letter that if you don't like your character, you can change it. Not change roles, but change how the character acts and is perceived. This is very unusual for a director to give such leeway. He added a very distinctive line at the end of the letter which read, "If the film we make turns out exactly how I wrote it, this will be a massive underachievement." Rick was showing that we are not just limited to this script, that it will be a collaborative effort throughout the rehearsal period and eventual filming. Again, this is very unorthodox for a director to say. He enclosed with the letter a mixtape on cassette of 70s rock tunes for the actors to listen to all the time. It was their homework, so to speak. Each tape was slightly tailored to each character. They would gather all again together during a 3-week rehearsal period in Austin before shooting, which nowadays never happens in movie making.